This is the Seller Process Podcast, where we talk about the best systems, processes, and SOPs for your Amazon business so that you can regain control of your time, build up your team, and scale your e-com empire.
Welcome, entrepreneurs. Gianmarco here. In this episode, we're going to explain a 4-level process to assess the overall health of your Amazon advertising account so that you can understand which part needs the most attention and which part is working well in order to make more informative and smart decisions for your business. To explain this 4-level process, we're joined today by a real ninja when it comes to PPC, and that is Ritu Java. She started her e-commerce journey over 10 years ago as an Etsy seller. She's now the CEO and co-founder of PPC Ninja, a software and services company managing sponsored ads and DSP for 6, 7, and 8-figure brands. As someone who is really passionate about data analysis and advertising, Ritu has run dozens of PPC masterminds, programs, workshops, and webinars, and trained hundreds of Amazon sellers on PPC. Ritu has shared her knowledge on dozens of podcasts, webinars, and conferences, including the Prosper Show, Global Sources Summit, Empowery, and more. So, hey, Ritu, thank you for being here.
Hello, Gianmarco. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So guys, Ritu has built this 4-level checklist that I mentioned before that she is using in her own agency as the very first thing to assess the health of a new client's account. Right. So in order to understand the strengths and the weaknesses of each account, in order to act accordingly and fix the problems of those accounts. So in this episode, obviously, as in every episode, you can download this checklist as a complementary material in the show notes of this episode or in the description if you're watching it on YouTube. Right. So let's start to dive in with this process. So Ritu, can you give us like a general perspective of what are these 4 levels? And then we can go deeper in each of them and understand better how we can run this health check to our PPC account.
Right. Yeah. So, for anyone who thinks that an audit is a one-time thing, I just want to say that it's not. All of us need to be auditing our PPC accounts periodically, right? And that frequency depends on what resources you have or, how frequently your account needs to be updated or looked at. But typically, we do audits every month, right? For all of our clients, we run this audit every single month. And this is just a quick way of finding out problems and opportunities. And that's the reason why we kind of formalize this into a checklist format, because, if you're just looking at the big numbers like ACOS, DACOS, and so on, you might be missing the detail, right? So you want to actually be able to go under the hood and see where exactly the problems are. You want to isolate problems. You want to find opportunities. And that's the reason why we built this checklist. So broadly speaking, this has 4 levels, and we go from account level down to the campaign level, and then we give recommendations at the very end. So that's generally the structure of our checklist.
All right. Okay, perfect. So let's go to understand like the first 2 levels, which I think, we can briefly touch on that because then the most interesting part, I think, is the level 3 and 4. So again, guys, you can take that checklist, you can download it. But right now we're going to discuss about all the points. You don't need to see, obviously, this checklist to understand it. So
Right.
Let's go with first 2 levels.
Yeah, absolutely. So first 2 levels are basically kind of zooming into the problem from a very, very high level. So you're looking at, your whole account from the top. It's a 10,000-foot view. So the very first section is simply taking count. That's all it's doing, right? It's got all counts of everything that you have in the account. You're starting with number of campaigns. That's the very first thing we do, right? Number of campaigns. Number of keywords, number of ASIN targets, number of negative keywords. And then we count up each ad type, right? So there's sponsored product auto campaign, sponsored product manual. Within manual, you have product targeting, category targeting, then you have sponsored brands, then you have video, then you have display. So under each of these ad types, there are subtypes. And so in this checklist, when you guys download it, you'll be able to see every row has its own count, section, and you can just fill in that information. So it's just looking at numbers, right? Just numbers. That's the very first thing. And, believe it or not, this is the section that gives us a pretty good idea of where the account stands, in terms of coverage. Is the ad coverage good or bad? We can tell just by counting these numbers up. The other thing that we can find out is, are there enough campaigns running for each ad type even? Like, for example, do you have enough auto campaigns running, enough manual campaigns running? So just taking count of this situation, you can find out where the opportunities are. Many times we will audit our clients and find that they're completely missing, let's say, the video ad section, right? Zero. There's no video ads running, and that's a huge opportunity lost. So I see this section as the place to find out where there are kind of opportunities and gaps, right? So that's the 10,000 foot view. We're going from the account level, zooming down in a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now we come to, so we've done the counts. That's the section one. Second section or second level is the account health. Now we're giving a little bit more flavor to our numbers because we're actually evaluating the health of each of the metrics, right? So this is the metrics section. And some of the metrics that we've listed out here are, simple metrics starting from impressions, right? How many impressions total, how many clicks, how many sales, what was the spend, what was the ACOS. And then we also have we also have rows for conversion rate, click-through rate, organic conversion rate, which is basically coming from the business reports. We request for that information. Then we have the average CPC. We measure tacos. We measure PPC contribution, which is a very important number. A lot of people overlook that. By PPC contribution, I mean what percentage of your sales comes from PPC? How much is PPC contributing to your overall sales, right? So that percentage is important because, if that number is skewed too much in favor of PPC, meaning let's say you have 70% of all your sales coming from PPC, only 30% coming from organic, then we know that there is some sort of problem going on there, right? So that those numbers will give us an idea of the health of our account.
What would you say is a healthy PPC contribution percentage?
Yes, and this will vary. And I think all of these metrics need to be seen in conjunction with other metrics. Like you cannot see any of them in isolation. So like if all the other factors are healthy, for example, the tacos is healthy and the ACOS and everything is healthy and sales are going up, trending upwards, then, a healthy PPC contribution could be somewhere around 30 to 40% of your total. But if it's 70 or 80%, then basically that means you're relying too much on PPC. And if the PPC were to stop for some reason, then your entire account sales will kind of tank or get affected by that. So you want to make sure that you have more of the PPC, more of the organic component and less of the PPC. Now, you won't entirely be able to eliminate the PPC component because that is what, Amazon does not want from us. They want us to be able to run PPC all the time, and they're making it really competitive on page one. You're seeing mostly ads now, at the top of search, right? You're seeing the sponsored brand ad, you're seeing 4 sponsored product ads, more video ads below that. So it's going to be pay to play, as we all know. So some part of the increased percentage of PPC contribution is unavoidable, and it's probably going to go up. We don't know. Right now, I'm saying 30 to 40% based on what I'm seeing, but this number could change over time. It could be even higher.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. Just to take a quick step back, when you mentioned before that some people were not using all the ad types that we have, sponsored products, brands, and display, what would be like a healthy percentage mix of these 3 ad type in your opinion?
Right. Yeah. So, in the ideal scenario, you want to be able to touch all ad types, right? The reason why is that, each of these ad types is unlocking different placements on Amazon. They're not competing with each other. They're unlocking different placements. For example, the video ad takes up 4 organic listings worth of space on page 1. Very prominent location. You cannot miss it, right? So that's an important one to always have. Sponsored brand ads right up at the top. Like it's in your face. Like you get in, type a search term and you get the sponsored brand ads. Cannot ignore it. Sponsored products, you want to be on top of search results page as much as possible. Cannot ignore that. Sponsored display. Now these will show up on product display detail pages, right? Product detail pages on the right rail and under the bullet points. A great placement because that is your chance to steal bottom of sales conversions because you know that this person who's shopping is already on the page of a relevant product that is similar to yours, right? So this, you've kind of pre-vetted, you've got pre-qualified leads of people who are really interested in a product like yours. So you are able to kind of steal the last, the last mile or the bottom of sale conversion from your competitor by showing up your ad at that point. So literally you cannot ignore any of the ad types. They do different things. They give you different placements, and together they work really well. So if you just want a number, I would say, for most of our healthy accounts that are doing things right, they're starting and using at least 30 to 40 campaigns per ASIN at launch, and then from then on, you're going up and up and up because you're constantly discovering new keywords, you're discovering new products, you're discovering new ways to advertise, and Amazon is giving you more and more and more in terms of ad coverage. So you might be adding more ad types along the way, but at least when you're starting off, 30 to 40 campaigns makes sense. Now, if you're a brand new seller and you're like, I don't have the budget for that, tell me the best campaign to run. I would definitely say for people who are on tight on budget and so on, definitely start with auto campaigns. I know there's a lot of different opinions about auto campaigns. Some people love it, some people hate it, but we've noticed that the best way to run an auto campaign is to split it out into 4, one for each of these sub-targeting groups. That gives you the best and cleanest data, and it gives you the best control and more granularity. So if that's the only one you have budget for, run that. Why? Because Amazon has access to more data than you have access to. So they already know when you launch a product, which products are related to that, which keywords are related to your product, and they can give you quick traffic without too much of an investment. So definitely recommend doing that. The second ad type that I would recommend doing is to run some sort of category targeting with one of the 4 types, maybe sponsored display, because that category targeting gives you the ability to reach your competitors. It will show up on your competitors' pages, and that gives you bottom of funnel conversions, which can be quite profitable because you're not dealing with someone who's just browsing around. You're dealing with someone who knows what they want, and they're on that page for that reason. So, and of course, keyword targeting, no one can avoid it. At some point, you will obviously want to, build your keyword relevancy. Just know that those are the most expensive ad types, and increasing CPCs are just proving it. It's keyword-based sponsored product ads are the most expensive. So you'll have to make your choices based on each of the ad types and how they can be beneficial. Quick example, one of our clients who tried all the ads and figured that only the video ad was working for her. We said, okay, let's do that. Let's go with just video ad. Let's cut back on everything else because it's so expensive. And she could see really good results.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Definitely. That's interesting. So let's move on with this checklist. So the first level, we got a high view of the overall ad account. Then the second level, it's more focused on the metrics of the ad account. So the third level is going to be about the campaign health, right? So what are the metrics that you look at to evaluate a good campaign, and what are the questions that you ask yourself to judge the health of a campaign?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So we've done the account level numbers. We've done account counts, and then we've done account health. Now we go a step deeper. We're zooming in further. So now we do the similar thing, but at the campaign level. So we're saying, what is our campaign count? Like, what are the different campaign counts that we can evaluate? So some of the campaign overview counts that we have are average keyword count per campaign. So we want to know, is this account stuffing their campaigns with too many keywords, right? And because it's a checklist, our formula is already inbuilt, and it will do the calculation automatically if you filled out the first section, which is capturing counts of campaigns and capturing counts of keywords. So that math kind of is done right there. But then you also have things like number of keywords that have sales. So we're making a count of that. How many of let's say you have 35,000 keywords and only a handful, let's say 100 keywords are giving you any results. You want to know that number right there. Average count of keywords with clicks. So we're counting keywords that have clicks. Then we're counting keywords that had 0 impressions, which tends to be a pretty large number, by the way. No matter which account we look at, the number of keywords that have 0 impressions is really, really high. And there's a reason for that. It's not because your keywords are bad. It's only because how Amazon prioritizes the early data points within a campaign, keywords that in a campaign that resulted in any kind of movement. So it gives you more attention and more impressions if you've had some amount of movement in terms of clicks and sales. And the rest of the keywords in those campaigns tend to just stay in that pool and just be ignored for a long time. So that basically is an important indicator of the size of a campaign. If you're stuffing campaigns with too many keywords, you're bound to have a majority of them not getting any impressions whatsoever because you have limited budgets, right? So that's another count. Then we count up the number of profitable keywords, then we count up the number of unprofitable keywords, and then we count the number of negative keywords. Because negative keywords, sometimes people are extremely aggressive with their negative keywording strategy, and they kind of block off their campaign from oxygen. So we do count that number just to see if there's too much of negative keywording happening. So that's my level 3, which is campaign overview. Again, this is just counts. And then we go into the campaign health, which is a level below that, right? And here we are basically asking very subjective subjective questions, and we need to fill in a yes or a no. That's the section where maybe a PPC agent and account manager will go in and look at things and say, is the answer to this question yes or no? So what are these questions? Examples. Are campaigns separated by match types? So it's a very simple, basic question because everybody does their PPC in a different way, right? Some people combine all the match types into a single campaign. Some people spread it out by campaign. Some people do something like different match types for different ad groups, which is another way, right? So we want to make sure that campaigns are separated by match type because each match type moves at a different velocity, right? The broad matches probably tend to move much faster, and they will consume your budget much faster than exact matches. If you mix all those up into a single campaign, chances are that your budget will get eaten up by the broad matches, and the exact matches that you actually want to send traffic to, you won't be able to. And that's where this kind of measurement can help us understand if campaigns are properly separated by match type. Now, one more thing I want to mention in this context is, this idea that you should be separating out your match type by ad group. I think that's that strategy is not going to help you much because that strategy it kind of goes against the idea of budget distribution, right? You cannot distribute your budget across ad types. So if you have one ad group for, let's say, broad, one ad group for phrase, one ad group for exact, what's going to happen is the budget, which is set at the campaign level, is going to get used up by whichever of these 3 ad groups got the initial traction. And it will just suck up the budget and it'll continue to eat up the budget. Let's say it was a broad ad group. You cannot stop it because you cannot tell Amazon, hey, use my budget more for the exact. That's the one I want to push. You can't do that, right? So the only way to do that for budget utilization purposes is to split out your campaigns by match type. And so that's just a question we ask in our checklist for campaign health. And so there's a yes / no, so you can just pick one of those.
I'm interested to ask you,
Go ahead.
is it, because this is, I think that's a common problem. Lots of keywords get left behind because the whole budget is eaten up by the fastest keyword. So what is your solution to that? Is it, how many keywords would you put in one campaign in order to avoid that? Do you have any recommendation?
Yeah, absolutely. So, ideally, now I can pull out any number from my hat and say, okay, 50 keywords, 20 keywords, 10 keywords. The point is that the more granular you get with the number of keywords per campaign, the better your outcome will be, right? So ideally, if you go by that logic, you can keep going more and more and more and more granular to get more and more and more control. But then you would end up with single keyword campaigns, and there's going to be millions of them, or not millions, but whatever. You get the idea. So if you go down really granular and have the best ideal kind of structure, you will end up with single keyword campaigns. But then that poses a management overhead because then you have all these hundreds and thousands of campaigns to deal with, right? So I think for the most part, we try to strike a balance with keeping campaign structures such that there are no more than 10 to 20 keywords per campaign. That seems to be a good number for the types of budgets that people are putting out there, like $20, $30, $40, right? That seems to be a good number to match against that budget. But then we also have a special treatment for keywords that we really want to rank for, like the keywords that we care about. There's bound to be about 10 of them for your product that you want to push, like you want to make sure that you're ranking for those keywords. Maybe just those keywords can sit in single keyword campaigns, and everything else can sit in kind of slightly bigger campaigns of 10 to 20 keywords per. Same thing for targets. Same logic goes for targets, product targeting ads, not to stuff too much into to each campaign.
Okay, definitely, yeah, it makes sense. So all the things that you mentioned, some of them are easy to find, in Seller Central, in the Campaign Manager. Some other things, some other metrics that you measure might be a little bit more difficult. How can people basically collect all the information that you put into this spreadsheet in order to audit the campaigns?
Yeah. So there's a few different ways. Definitely take advantage of the reports that Amazon provides, right? So Amazon will provide you this kind of information through many different ways. Like you can download the search term report, you can download the campaigns report. Those two will give you pretty much most of the information that we have here. Or you could use software like PPC Ninja. So we give you a lot of that information on an aggregate basis across campaigns, across markets. It's pretty makes it streamlined and easy to use. So feel free to kind of check that out. But other than that, it's just a matter of sitting down and doing it once a month with your reports, your campaign reports and your search term reports, and you should be able to get most of this information out of there.
Okay, great. Sounds good. So guys, do your best to collect all the information, because that's the only way you can have you can make informative decisions for your business, right? So they are even going that far to run this audit once a month. Maybe not everybody can do if you don't have like a big team. If you're just by yourself, you might not be able to do it every month, but maybe at least once a quarter could be a good idea. So yeah, so definitely make sure you run this audits for your campaigns. So all right, so then let's go to the next level. The fourth level that you mentioned are the opportunities for improvement. So let's see what can be. Let's try to get one or two like easy, quick ways for people that can improve their campaigns, let's say easily, and let's go to through like another one or two more advanced ways for more advanced sellers, let's say.
Yeah. So let's do the easy ones first. So one easy question that we ask in the opportunities section. So there's about 10 or 15 questions we ask. So here, one of these is, do these campaigns use any catch-all strategies? So what is a catch-all campaign? Catch-all campaigns tend to be the place where you kind of put all of your similar products. We kind of group them together, just for the purpose of being able to collect a lot of keywords that are related and so on. So having a catch-all campaign with a low bid, extremely low bid, and by low bid I mean something like 5 cents or something per click. You can just create catch-all campaigns and just leave them be. You can create them either as auto campaigns or as manual campaigns or both, and just simply allow Amazon to do the finding. You might see a lot of irrelevant clicks and irrelevant search terms, but that's, it doesn't matter because your bids are so low. It's just under 5 cents, right? So some of those occasional conversions can give you really good results and make up for all the bad clicks that you've had, right? So this is not one that you want to optimize heavily. This is just a campaign that you keep on the side and let it run. So most people have catch-all campaigns. That's an easy one to start. The other campaign other strategy that we recommend everybody do is to split out your auto campaigns. Now, you don't want to touch a campaign that has been running for a long time because your data is super precious, like oil. I mean, you don't want to kill a campaign just for the sake of aesthetics. You don't want to split out a campaign that's been running. So that's an easy one you can do for, let's say, new campaigns, or you can evaluate your existing auto campaigns and see which of the 4 targeting groups is not delivering, and just use that opportunity to shut that off and then create a new campaign just for that, and let the others be paused in that one. So that way you can make that full coverage happen with your auto campaigns. And we've seen such good results with auto campaigns just by doing this. So those are my 2 tips for like easy kind of opportunities that you can gonna have in your campaigns. second, and do you want me to talk about the advanced ones?
Yeah, sure. Let's go to
Okay.
see some few more advanced ones. And by the way, guys, there is much more that you can find in the checklist. We're covering just the most important part, so definitely make sure that you also download this checklist, because it's going to have like a lot more questions that you should go through and a lot more things that you should check, because it's a checklist. So you
Right.
need to make sure that you check all of them in order to evaluate your ad account in the right way. So yes, let's go to the more advanced.
Yeah. Okay. So the more advanced techniques are to do with campaign placements. There's different placements that Amazon gives you, even for a single type, like a one type of ad. So, for example, sponsored products. These can show up either on top of search, rest of search, or product pages. Those are the three placements for sponsored products. Similarly, sponsored brands, they also have a top of search and a other placement, which is all the other places that these ads show up on. Now, even though you're bidding at the campaign level, at the keyword level, you aren't able to control where your ad actually shows up more, right? That is a mystery to everybody, right? We don't know if a $1 bid will give us top of search placement, or do I have to bid $3 or $4 in order to get top of search placement? I don't know that. Nobody knows that, right? But we can find out which placement is working best for us. At least Amazon gives us that data, right? So if you go into your placements tab on a campaign, then you can find out for top of search, for rest of search, and for product pages, what was your data distribution? What were the impressions looking like? What was the ACoS, and what were the sales looking like? And you can find out this information even by downloading your placements report, which is a very interesting report, or you could use software like PPC Ninja, which gives you all the placements in a single view. So it's very easy to just eyeball all the top of searches across all the campaigns in one single table. And then you can do things like put filters and see which of these campaigns are actually performing really good in terms of ACoS and conversion rate. Those are the two metrics that I would look at to determine whether a campaign and a placement within a campaign is doing well. Because if there's conversion rate, history that shows that every time I send, let's say, 5 people to a page, one of them will buy, then I know I have a good conversion rate, 20% conversion rate, right? So relying on the high conversion rate and a low ACoS, you can say, okay, let's bump up the placement modifier for this placement only. So what this is going to do is that this will give you a better chance. We cannot control whether Amazon is going to give you only that placement. That's not possible. But it's going to favor your top of search placement if you put a modifier or multiplier on your bids. So let's say if you have a base bid of $1 and you give Amazon the permission to apply a 100% modifier in real time, what this will do is that if there is any opportunity for you to show up, instead of showing up below the fold, if you have an opportunity with a little bit of extra bid to show up above the fold and basically essentially jump the line, right? If you give Amazon permission to jump the line, then you will show up on top of search if there's an opportunity at that particular moment in real time. So giving Amazon that opportunity for your best campaigns, only the ones that have proven themselves, have substantial data, and have a good history of conversion rate and ACoS, use that strategy to get you really quick, low-hanging fruit results. That's awesome. My first. Yeah, that's the first one.
Do you have another one? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I do have another one. The second one is to do with budgets. Now, budgets, again, I'm going to tell you a low-hanging fruit strategy where you can look at your budgets view on Amazon. This is brand new, by the way, just hot off the press, maybe a couple of months old. Go to your budgets view and put a filter on ACoS less than whatever your target ACoS is, so that you can filter out all the other campaigns that are bad and just leave the ones that are really good, right? So ACoS less than, let's say, 15%, right? Then put a secondary filter on average time in budget. What that means is that if you have average time in budget less than 100%, which means you're not always showing up during the day, whenever there's an opportunity, you're not showing up, then you want to fix that. You want to increase your budgets there so that you do show up for your best campaigns. So managing your budgets for the best campaigns is a super easy way to kind of get low-hanging fruit because you're already doing well there. Why would you limit your budgets when your campaigns have a history of performing well? Now, in all these cases, make sure that your timeline, your timeframes are substantial so that you're being able to look at data not just based on one or two conversions, right? You need substantial either time or data in order to make these choices.
Awesome. Okay, sounds great. So this was already like a very value-packed episode. Thank you, Ritu, for sharing that with us. So just before we close, tell to people where they can find you.
Yes. So I am active on LinkedIn. So if you just look up my name, Ritu Java, RITUJAVA, you can follow me there. So I write a lot on LinkedIn, and then you can also look up our blog on the ppcninja.com blog. We post a lot of good materials there for anybody wanting to learn PPC and wanting to up their game in the PPC space.
Awesome. Sounds great. So guys, remember, the key to success is to emulate the best. So remember to go grab your copy of this PPC audit checklist and run it for your own business so that you know where to act and what to improve in your ad account so that you can level up your PPC strategy. All right. So it was a real pleasure, Ritu, to have you here. Thank you very much. I hope to see you next time.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really enjoyed myself. Good luck to everybody. Thank you.
Hey entrepreneurs, I hope you enjoyed the episode and learned something from the interview. If you're serious about creating systems for your business, automating processes and building up your team so that you can transfer the tedious daily tasks in order to focus on more high-level strategic tasks and work on your business and not in your business, I've created a guide for Amazon sellers named Capturing Systems and Creating SOPs that you can find at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook, where you will learn how to leverage systems and SOPs in your Amazon business so that you can accomplish more by working less, optimize your time, automate and delegate tasks, and reap the benefits of being a true business owner and not simply an operator in your own business. Go download the ebook at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook and start implementing all the tips and insights that I share with you, and leave us a review or a comment to let us know how the content we are sharing here is making an impact in your business. And have a productive week.